All right, Joe, so welcome back. I hope you had a good week. How was your week? Was it okay?
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know, not much has changed, but
Okay.
I'm feeling better. Getting to talk things out helps.
All right, good. So last week we went into a little bit of your dissatisfaction with job and just a little bit of life stress because of that. How are you feeling this week compared to last week?
Yeah, like I said, I don't feel like much has changed with my boss since last week. Um, I just don't feel like he really understands me or tries to. Um, I would just really venture to say he's pretty arrogant,
Mm.
and it just makes me have a hard time even trying to relate to him or trying to appeal to him to understand kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so that's really frustrating on top of just not really liking the work itself, just kind of feeling like a dead end position here.
Remind me, how long have you been at this job for?
I've been with the management firm for 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
How have you seen kind of the change? Has this always been this way since the beginning of when you started, or has things shifted?
Some of both. I definitely, looking back, see some of these tendencies in him to kind of treat people the way that he does. But I think I just had a willingness to put up with it for a while because the job paid really well, and
Mm.
there are a lot of good things about the job, but I just don't enjoy it anymore, and I feel like I'm kind of fulfilling someone else's dream for them, not like I'm actually pursuing my own.
Sure.
And so I think I was kind of naive to who my boss was at the beginning.
So would you say that the main problem with the job is the boss, or are there other factors as well?
It's really just twofold. I mean, even if it was perfect, I still would feel unfulfilled in what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But just the fact that I feel like he's kind of mistreating people. Abusive is kind of strong, but just very selfish and kind of treats people for what they can do for him, and not even on just a business front, but just like how he expects people to treat him and be around him just feels really off to me. And so it makes a already unfulfilling job just all the more unpleasant.
Of course, that makes sense. Are there any specific instances that have happened recently between you and your boss specifically in which you felt undervalued or used, or um, any of those feelings? Has there been a recent incident that you can detail for me?
It's hard to say. Oftentimes it's kind of what isn't said,
Sure.
just the kind of nonverbal expectation when I know he's displeased with something that I've done. Um, but more than anything, something that happened recently is since we are often working with clients and kind of going and coming, on the golf course or in the office or on location or at a restaurant or anything like that. Our office hours aren't very strict, and so people come and go from the office, and people will roll in at 10 and all this kind of stuff, and I like showed up at the office at 10 one day, and he just suddenly was just really not okay with that, and even my coworkers thought that was kind of odd that he kind of snapped at me. He didn't really he didn't fully blow up, but it was very much a moment in the office, and that just it didn't make sense. Like, nothing was different. Like, he did that earlier this week even. It's not like there was some paradigm shift. So I don't really know what it is. I think I'm doing something, or I am something that he just doesn't like. And he seems to treat me differently than other people, but doesn't seem to treat anyone very kindly.
So would you say, do you think that there's any discrimination specifically towards you, or do you think that this is a blanket thing that your boss reacts to his employees similarly?
Similarly, but definitely the worst towards me for some reason. I think he just has like really high expectations for what I could be, and maybe that's even born out of a place of like love or like respect for me, because he's really taken me under his wing over a lot of years. But lately it's just been more aggressive than anything, and so he'll snap at people, but he seems to snap at me most often.
Mm. Has there been any ability to communicate these things with him? Has that ever been something you've tried to do, or is that kind of not a safe thing in the workplace to confront or try and bring this up to your boss?
Yeah, it's interesting because we have a little bit of a unique friendship. So yes, at times we can have a really candid conversation, and it's pretty firm, not heated, but we both are clearly frustrated with each other, and we're trying to get the other person to see like the other one does.
Sure.
And I feel like he doesn't really listen, or he doesn't really hear me, however you want to say it. Like, I just don't feel like it really gets through to him, and so I think for me it just feels like a waste of time trying to talk to him about it, because no matter how many times I say it, I feel like he'll say, yeah, and then just not do anything different.
So, are you open in your headspace to consider pursuing a different job? Is that something you're willing to consider?
Yeah, I mean, I would love that. I would do it today if I could. But honestly, just like with my pay scale at this job, it's really great. And it would be really hard for my wife if, and just our like quality of life that we've kind of grown accustomed to, it would be a really hard shift for us, maybe not even possible, if I took a different job, because it just would pay half as much as where I'm at. So I feel kind of financially cornered here. But if another job offered itself that was even a mild pay cut, I'd take it.
Yeah. What would your dream job be if this position currently isn't fulfilling kind of your job goals?
I think I want to do the same thing. Like, I want to help people with their money, but just in a different format. This has become kind of strangely elite, and that I'm not actually helping people. I'm just kind of creating a product for folks who just want a product. I think I'd rather help people who maybe don't know as much, or maybe need actual help, and maybe people who are even still wealthy, but just they need someone that they can trust. And that's just not where I'm at. I just kind of feel like a mechanic for people's bank accounts. And so if I could get to a place where I felt like people were like really grateful for what I was able to provide, that would be really amazing.
Yeah.
This is kind of the only area of experience that I have, though, because what I have my degree in, it'd be hard for me to have a career shift to something entirely different. So.
Well, if money wasn't an issue, if like your wife's well-being wasn't an issue, what would make you happiest? Would that be a career shift, or would it not? Are you happy in finances?
In finance, yeah.
Okay.
Ultimately.
Okay.
I really feel gifted at it, and I think people, for the most part, really enjoy working with me, and so I see a benefit in even the things that I'm doing now. I think it's just become so routine and so mundane that I'm having a hard time seeing purpose. So if money wasn't an option, I would I really think I would shift towards just a less paying job to do something more enjoyable for me. I don't know, but even saying that still sounds like only a temporary fix to kind of the deeper issue of not doing everything that I know I want to in life.
Tell me more about that.
I don't know, like, as I kind of play that scenario out, it doesn't seem like that would actually provide all the change that I would want to have.
Well, what do you want?
I don't know. I want to take care of my responsibilities and my wife, and I hope that we have have kids soon. I want to take care of those responsibilities and tend to that area, but I also want to do things that are more creative or more risky, even if it's just like taking vacations or, you know, doing something artistic on the side or having a job that would allow me to not feel so drained so that I could have extra energy to do those in my off hours would really be amazing. I don't really know.
So there's something more than just your job that I'm hearing you're dissatisfied with. It's a deeper sense of purpose or a deeper sense of enjoyment in life or satisfaction in life. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I heard you say creativity. That's not something that you're necessarily getting from your job. Is that something that brings you purpose and fulfillment when you've been able to exercise those things before? Is that something that you could pinpoint?
Yeah, definitely. I've never done anything really officially. I'm not a painter, a musician, or anything like that really, but I don't know, just doing more fun things, I guess.
Yeah.
Just kind of miss being in college and getting to play more, I guess.
Sure, that's important. I think, tell me if this resonates with you, but I think oftentimes when men get married, there's this sense of settling and there's this sense of working hard and making sure that you bring home money and have a good home for your wife, and there's just this pressure sometimes that is taken on to provide stability for the family. And a lot of the joys and the desires that light you up are pushed to the side. And so it is partially about your job, but I think it is partially about the parts of yourself that have kind of been pushed away.
Yeah.
Does that sit well with you? Does that connect with you in any way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like there's any space for them right now. And if I took a different job with less money, it would be maybe mentally more space, but there would just be even less financial freedom to be able to take time off or buy a new surfboard or, get a new set of golf clubs and really go play.
Yeah.
I don't know how to incorporate those things that I really enjoy into my life now.
That takes time to figure out. It is definitely a question of what is it worth. Either what can you do now, or can I really not do anything that gives me joy and gives me fulfillment now, and therefore I have to do something that's tougher, but it's so much more worth it if it means you have a lot more space in your mental health. Maybe it's better for you and your wife's relationship. I don't know. We haven't gotten to that, but
Wow.
there is a pros and cons kind of weighing right now that you're having to do, assessing that, because maybe you take a job that pays a little less, which also, who knows, maybe something that you can do is do some homework, look at jobs, see if there's anything that's even comparable or has growth opportunities, because that's important too. You don't have kids now, right? So you have a little bit more flexibility, and this is also something to talk to your wife about, I think.
Yeah, I think she would agree with you.
Yeah. Maybe that's something. Have you talked to your wife about that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been so supportive with this, and
It's amazing.
I don't think she wants to be discouraging, but I think that she would recommend what you're saying, doing some homework and seeing what else there is, because we have really plenty of money. We're so provided for, but at what cost, I guess?
Yeah. I'd love for you to think about that question this week, and maybe next week we can kind of follow up and process through some of those different aspects of that, pros and cons list, if you will, and just kind of assess, what is it worth? because maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not, and only you can decide that. Only you and your wife can decide that. But I think it is an important question. But,
Yeah. I'll give it some thought.
cool. All right, well, I'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
Sounds great.